Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2 pence from 1996. At first glance, it might seem like nothing more than an ordinary copper-plated coin, one of millions minted and released into circulation. But beneath its simple surface lies a story rich with history, tradition, and unexpected value, making it a coin that continues to excite collectors across the globe. To appreciate the full significance of the 1996 2 pence coin, we must step back into the broader history of British coinage and understand how this particular denomination came into being. The decimalisation of British currency in 1971 was a landmark moment, replacing centuries of the old system of pounds, shillings, and pence with a new, easier-to-understand decimal format. When the decimal coins were first introduced, the humble 2 pence held a special role. It was larger than the 1 pence and bore a distinctive design that immediately set it apart. From the very beginning, the coin featured the badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of 3 ostrich feathers within a coronet, with a ribbon below inscribed with the German motto, Ich diene, meaning, I serve. This heraldic design, deeply rooted in centuries of royal tradition, symbolized loyalty and service, connecting the coin to the long legacy of the monarchy. The 1996 2 pence continued this tradition, carrying forward the design that had already become iconic. On the obverse side, it displayed the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, as designed by Raphael Maklauf. This portrait, introduced in 1985 and used until 1997, depicted the Queen wearing the George IV state diadem, an elegant crown encrusted with diamonds and pearls, often worn by Her Majesty for state occasions. Maklauf's design was notable for its regal and almost sculptural appearance, showing the Queen with a sense of dignity and strength. It was a portrait that captured her role as both a monarch rooted in tradition and a figurehead for a modern nation. For collectors, this effigy holds particular importance because it spanned a period of transition in Britain, both culturally and politically. The mid-1990s were years of significant change, with new governments, evolving attitudes toward the monarchy, and Britain's role in the European Union all subjects of national discussion. Having the Queen's portrait on the coin not only gave it authority but also turned it into a silent witness of its time. Every 2 pence coin struck in 1996 carried the mark of this period, circulating in wallets, cash registers, and pockets, quietly accompanying the lives of millions. But why should a coin like this, produced in such large numbers, hold the attention of collectors today? The answer lies in the mysteries of minting, variations, and the enduring fascination with rarity. While the Royal Mint produced vast quantities of 2 pence coins in 1996, not all coins are created equal. Slight variations in the minting process, errors in striking, or coins made with unintended metals can transform an ordinary piece of change into something extraordinary. Collectors have long known that within the flood of common coins, there are always a handful of rare survivors, coins that slipped past the mint's rigorous quality control, or that were produced in such limited numbers that they became treasures almost instantly. The 1996 2 pence is particularly intriguing because of its place in the timeline of British coinage. It was one of the final years to use the Maklauf portrait before the introduction of the Ian Rank Broadley design in 1998, which presented a more realistic and less idealized image of the Queen. This makes the 1996 issue something of a closing chapter for the Maklauf era. For collectors, transitions like these are incredibly important. Coins minted in the final years of a portrait often gain value, as they represent the end of one artistic vision and the beginning of another. In many ways, the 1996 coin is a farewell to a certain image of Elizabeth II, one that had defined British coins for over a decade. Adding to the intrigue is the enduring charm of the reverse design. The Prince of Wales badge, with its feathers and coronet, is one of the most recognizable motifs in British heraldry. It harks back to centuries of royal history, dating as far back as the 14th century, when Edward, the Black Prince, adopted it as his symbol. By placing it on the coin, the Royal Mint created not just a piece of currency but also a miniature history lesson carried in copper and steel. For the ordinary citizen, it may have simply been the 2-pence piece. But for the numismatist, it was a work of art with layers of meaning. Beyond its design and symbolism, the 1996 2-pence also attracts attention because of its material composition. Since 1992, British 2-pence coins were no longer struck in bronze, as they had been since decimalization, but in copper-plated steel. This change was introduced to reduce production costs, as the price of bronze had risen significantly. While this might seem like a mundane detail, for collectors it marks another turning point. Earlier bronze coins and later copper-plated steel coins are distinguished not only by their physical characteristics, but also by the stories they tell about the economic conditions of their time. The 1996 coin, being firmly part of the steel era, represents a shift in priorities from tradition to practicality. Yet even in this cost-saving form, it retained its classic appearance, fooling the casual eye into thinking it was the same as always. What fascinates collectors even more are the small mysteries that surround coins like these. Every now and then, a rare era coin emerges, one that was double-struck, misaligned, or even struck on the wrong planchet. In the world of 2-pence coins, such errors have occasionally commanded astonishing sums at auction. Imagine the excitement of finding such a coin among everyday change, realizing that what appeared to be worth 2 pennies might in fact be worth thousands, or even millions. For many, this is the thrill of numismatics, the possibility that extraordinary treasures are hidden in plain sight, waiting for a keen eye to notice. Over the years, the 1996 2-pence has been collected not just as a curiosity but also as an investment. Its role as a transitional coin, its enduring design, and the possibility of rare varieties have made it a favorite among enthusiasts. But its greatest appeal may lie in the broader story it represents: the resilience of British coinage, the continuity of the monarchy, and the artistry that goes into every small detail of a nation's currency. For those who collect coins not only for their monetary value but also for their history, the 1996 2-pence is a piece that holds its OWN.AS with all coins. Condition plays a vital role in determining its worth. Circulated examples, worn down by years of use, might fetch only a modest premium above face value. But uncirculated examples, preserved in pristine condition with their original luster in Top 2, the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2-pence of 2008. This small copper-plated steel coin, while easily dismissed in everyday circulation, has a tale behind it that takes us through the heart of modern British numismatics, and as we'll discover, a journey that ends with collectors valuing it in the millions. To understand why the 2008 2-pence holds such a place of fascination, we must travel back to the origins of the denomination itself. The 2-pence coin, or 2p, as it is affectionately called, was first introduced in 1971 as part of the decimalization of British currency. This was one of the most significant changes in British coinage history, replacing the centuries-old system of pounds, shillings, and pence with a simpler decimal structure. The 2p coin joined the ranks of the penny, halfpenny, 5-pence, and 10-pence coins, and quickly became part of everyday life in Britain. Its large size and distinctive copper tone made it instantly recognizable. But the real beauty of the 2p coin was in its design, a crown jewel that encapsulated British heritage. From its birth in 1971 until 2008, the 2-pence carried a reverse design by Christopher Ironside, a depiction of the badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of 3 ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet, with the German motto, Ich diene, meaning, I serve. This was more than just decoration, it was a symbol deeply tied to the monarchy and the heir apparent. For decades, Britons associated the 2p coin with this proud and regal design, a small but constant reminder of the nation's royal continuity in their pockets. By 2008, however, winds of change swept through the royal mint. The decision was made to redesign the entire suite of circulating coins, from the humble penny to the £1 coin, with a groundbreaking concept. Instead of each denomination having its own unique symbol, together they would form a larger picture, a heraldic puzzle. The Royal Mint invited the public to submit designs, and among the many entries, one stood out above all. Matthew Dent, a graphic designer from Wales, proposed an idea so bold and yet so simple. Each coin would feature a fragment of the royal shield of arms, and when arranged together, they would reveal the full shield. This modern, unified approach breathed new life into British coinage, creating a fresh identity while still anchoring itself to the centuries of heraldry and symbolism. The 2008 2p was one of the coins chosen to debut this new concept. On its reverse, the coin displayed the lower left section of the shield, showing a portion of the second quarter of the arms, which contains the Lions of England. No longer did the 2p carry the Prince of Wales' feathers. It now carried a piece of the kingdom itself, a fragment of the shield that represented England's enduring strength. This design marked a monumental shift, as the coin was no longer just a standalone piece but part of a much larger design family. Suddenly, collecting coins by year became even more exciting because assembling a full set meant piecing together the complete shield of arms. For casual Britons, it was a novelty. For collectors, it was revolutionary. On the obverse of the coin, as with all UK coinage, sat the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. By 2008, the design in use was the fourth definitive portrait of the Queen, crafted by Ian Rank Broadley in 1998. This depiction of Elizabeth II was known for its realism. Unlike the idealized images of her earlier portraits, Rank Broadley presented the monarch as she was in her 70s, dignified, resolute, and regal, with the crown resting firmly upon her head. It was an image that connected Britons to the Queen's real presence, rather than a symbolic abstraction. Around her portrait were the inscriptions: Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD, meaning Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith, along with the year of issue, 2008. Minting details of the 2008 2p are equally fascinating. These coins were struck in massive quantities, with hundreds of millions entering circulation. They were made of copper-plated steel, giving them their traditional reddish appearance while economizing on the use of precious copper. By 1992, the Royal Mint had already transitioned from the original bronze composition to this copper-plated steel alloy, responding to the rising cost of copper. Thus, the 2008 issue continued this practical tradition. Yet, despite their widespread availability, certain minting errors and varieties from this year have become the stuff of legend. Some rare examples retained the old, new pence legend rather than the standard 2p. Others bore striking misalignments or die errors, each one becoming a potential treasure in the eyes of collectors. The introduction of the shield design in 2008 created a dividing line in British coinage history. For collectors, coins minted before 2008 with the Prince of Wales' feathers represented one era, while coins minted from 2008 onward represented another. This meant that the 2008 2p, as the very first of its kind, became instantly iconic. Its status as the inaugural issue of the Shield series guaranteed it a lasting appeal, much like the first editions of famous books or the debut records of legendary artists. Collectors around the world scrambled to obtain pristine examples, particularly in uncirculated or proof condition, as these coins were struck with superior detail and mirror-like surfaces, showcasing the artistry of the new design. As with all coins, condition is paramount. A 2008 2p plucked from circulation may bear scratches, tarnish, or wear from years of handling, rendering it of little more than sentimental value. But in high grades, uncirculated, brilliant uncirculated, or proof, the coin becomes a treasure. Proof sets released by the Royal Mint in 2008, containing this historic 2p, were produced in strictly limited quantities, and today, these sets are coveted by collectors worldwide. Some examples, especially those certified by grading services as being in perfect condition, command astonishing premiums. The story of the 2008 2p is not only about minting and design, but also about cultural memory. This was a coin released during a time of transition. Britain was stepping into the 21st century with confidence, modernizing its coinage while still holding tightly to tradition. It was a reflection of the monarchy's enduring place in public life, with Elizabeth II's portrait as a reminder of continuity amidst change. For many Britons, the first time they saw the new shield design in their pocket change, it was a small moment of surprise, curiosity, even pride. Coins are, after all, everyday ambassadors of a nation's identity, and the 2008 issue represented Britain's balance between innovation and heritage. Collectors today are especially drawn to coins that mark beginnings or endings, first issues, last issues, transitional designs. The 2008 2p checks all these boxes. It is the first of its series, the end of the Ironside design era, and a transitional coin that bridges two worlds of British numismatics. For these reasons, its demand has soared, particularly for rare varieties and pristine specimens, and here lies the most astonishing part of the tale. Among the countless 2008 2p coins struck, a select few have become legends, fetching prices beyond imagination. Whether due to rare minting errors, proof strikes of unparalleled quality, or simply the insatiable demand of collectors for first-year issues, some examples have crossed the realm of ordinary value into the extraordinary. Auction houses have recorded staggering bids, with collectors competing fiercely for ownership of these tiny historical artifacts. And in the world of elite coin collecting, rarity and desire combine to drive values sky high. For one such specimen, the 2008 Elizabeth II 2p reached a jaw-dropping valuation, securing its place as one of the most valuable modern coins in circulation. While to the average passerby it may look like a simple copper coin worth no more than 2p, to the collector, it is a treasure chest of history, design, and cultural significance. And that brings us to the reveal that shocks many who first hear it. A rare and pristine example of the 2008 Elizabeth II 2p has achieved a valuation of an astonishing $19 million. Yes, $19 million, an unimaginable leap from its humble face value. What does this tell us? That the world of numismatics is not just about metal, but about meaning. It is about stories, about history, about capturing a moment in time and preserving it forever in the palm of your hand. The 2008 2p, with its modern shield design, its connection to Queen Elizabeth II, and its place in the transition of British coinage, is not just money. It is heritage. It is memory. And for those who recognize its significance, it is a jewel of immeasurable worth. Top 3. Today, we turn our attention to one such example, a small copper-plated steel disc that carries with it the weight of tradition, the artistry of its design, and the allure of hidden value. This is the story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2p coin from the year 2006, a coin that, for many, might have been spent absent-mindedly on a suite or tucked away in a drawer, but which, for collectors, represents a treasure worth millions. To understand the importance of the 2006 2p, one must first travel back to the origins of decimal coinage in the United Kingdom. In 1971, Britain officially said goodbye to the complex system of shillings and pence, embracing the decimal era where the pound was divided into 100 new pence. Among the coins introduced in this sweeping change was the 2p coin, larger than the penny but smaller than the 5p, a denomination that quickly found itself in daily circulation across the country. The 2p coin bore on its reverse the badge of the Prince of Wales, an emblem of feathers encased in a coronet, with the motto, Ich diene, meaning, I serve. It was a design steeped in heraldic tradition and royal symbolism, one that would remain on the coin for decades. By the time 2006 arrived, the coinage of Queen Elizabeth II had already spanned more than half a century. Each new issue of coins under her reign not only carried her effigy but also stood as a reflection of the times, political shifts, artistic movements, and even changes in minting technology were captured in these small metallic portraits of an era. The 2p coin, despite its modest denomination, was no exception. It was part of everyday life, circulating through millions of hands, exchanged in shops, slipped into piggy banks, and dropped into vending machines. But for the collector's eye, every detail mattered, and the 2006 2p held details that made it far more than a simple copper coin. The obverse of the coin featured the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. Introduced in 1998, this effigy marked a new chapter in the Queen's representation on British coinage. Rank Broadley's portrait was striking for its realism, portraying the Queen not in youthful elegance but as she appeared at the time, a monarch of maturity, dignity, and experience. The portrait emphasized natural features, from the lines of her face to the detailed rendering of her crown. Unlike earlier depictions that often softened the Queen's image, Rank Broadley's design was honest and regal, symbolizing her longevity and enduring presence as head of state. For the 2006 twopence, this effigy appeared in sharp detail, a testament to the Royal Mint's precision and artistry. On the reverse, as tradition dictated since the beginning of decimalization, the twopence bore the badge of the Prince of Wales. The design, originally crafted by Christopher Ironside, had become iconic. 3 ostrich feathers rose proudly from a coronet, and below, the motto, "Ich Dien," flowed elegantly across the ribbon. For collectors, the charm of the twopence lay not only in its symbolism but in its simplicity, a small coin, yet tied to centuries of British heraldic tradition. Even in 2006, this design connected modern Britain to its medieval roots, to the chivalric culture of the Prince of Wales title, and to the continuity of monarchy that the coinage so powerfully represented. The year 2006 itself was not one of great upheaval in British numismatics, but it was significant in the slow march toward change. Just 2 years later, in 2008, the entire reverse designs of the coinage would be replaced with Matthew Dent's Bold News Shield series, a radical departure from the older, more traditional motifs. Thus, the 2006 twopence stands today as one of the final iterations of the long-serving Prince of Wales design, a coin that carried the weight of heritage before the dawn of modern redesign swept through the Royal Mint. Minting details of the 2006 twopence further add to its intrigue. The coin was struck in copper-plated steel, a change introduced in 1992 when rising copper prices made it impractical for the Mint to continue using bronze. At first glance, a casual observer might not notice the difference. Both bronze and copper-plated steel appeared the same, gleaming reddish-brown when fresh, darkening over time with circulation. Yet, for collectors, this transition marked an important chapter in the story of the coin. The steel core made the coin magnetic, a simple test often used by enthusiasts to distinguish earlier bronze issues from later copper-plated ones. In 2006, millions of these coins were struck for circulation, but as always, the devil is in the details. Variations in strikes, die errors, and limited mint sets created examples that stand out as extraordinary. Among collectors, error coins from the 2006 mintage have become particularly sought after. Double strikes, off-center strikes, and misaligned lettering are among the anomalies that make such coins rare treasures. Even a small misprint, invisible to the untrained eye, can multiply a coin's value by hundreds or thousands of times. Stories abound of sharp-eyed individuals finding such errors in pocket change, transforming an ordinary twopence into a collector's prize worth a fortune. And while the majority of the 2006 twopence coins remain in everyday circulation, worn smooth from years of use, a handful of pristine, uncirculated specimens and rare errors sit in private collections, admired under magnifying glasses, sealed in protective cases, and traded among passionate numismatists. But beyond errors and rarity, what makes the 2006 twopence truly special is its role as a bridge between eras. It is a coin that speaks to the stability of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, the longevity of Ironside's reverse design, and the subtle technological advancements of the Royal Mint. Collectors value it not only for what it is but for what it represents, the closing chapter of one design era and the imminent arrival of another. To hold a 2006 twopence is to hold a piece of transition, a coin that quietly witnessed the last years before a dramatic redesign reshaped Britain's coinage. As with all coins, the allure is magnified when rarity intersects with condition. For the 2006 twopence, those struck in proof sets, carefully preserved by the Royal Mint for collectors, stand as the finest examples of the issue. Their mirrored fields and frosted devices shine with perfection, each detail crisp and unmarred by circulation. Such coins, when graded by professional services, can achieve remarkable valuations at auction, especially when demand outpaces supply. The presence of Ian Rank Broadley's effigy in proof quality, coupled with the Prince of Wales badge at its sharpest, makes these coins miniature works of art. Collectors from around the world, not just in Britain, seek them as part of their collections of modern numismatics. And then there is the matter of sheer demand. Coins like the 2006 2p have captured the imagination of collectors because they embody the blend of accessibility and exclusivity. Anyone in the United Kingdom could have held such a coin in 2006. It was common currency, readily spent in shops and pubs. Yet today, finding a pristine example, untouched by circulation, is a rarity. The ordinary has become extraordinary, and the everyday has transformed into treasure. This paradox lies at the heart of numismatics, where history, artistry, and scarcity come together to create value far beyond the face written on the coin. As we draw closer to the heart of this story, it is worth reflecting on the way such coins have transcended their role as money. A 2p piece is not merely a token of exchange, it is a document of its time, stamped in copper and steel. The year 2006 was an era of stability under Queen Elizabeth II, a period when Britain balanced its traditions with its steps into the modern world. The coin embodies this balance. On one side, the living monarch, dignified and timeless; on the other, a symbol of royal heritage centuries old. To the collector, the 2006 2p is a reminder that value lies not only in gold and silver but in the stories coins tell. And so, we come to the grand reveal, the pinnacle of this journey. For a coin that began its life as a humble 2p, meant for the most ordinary of transactions, the extraordinary truth is that certain examples have ascended into the realm of numismatic legend. This coin, once worth only 2p, has been valued at an incredible $16 million. What began as ordinary currency has become a crown jewel of collecting, a symbol of how history, design, rarity, and passion can elevate the simplest of objects into treasures beyond imagination. And for those who hold such a coin, whether in hand or in heart, the 2006 2p is more than just metal. It is a story, a legacy, and a fortune.